Good evening, everyone. What's up? Just ate a satisfying meal and topped it off with a measly dessert. This is Mr. Hotta speaking. Previously, there were some school rants, one on the Fairly Odd Parents, even one on SpongeBob, one on PBS Kids, one on SpongeBob Countdowns, and one on Cartoon Network rants. Today's video is finally here after being an idea since May 2013. However, some episodes had to be seen over and over again to know them well. Sorry for delaying this, but it's finally here. There's been so many distractions and having to watch the episodes to see what they're really like. This video will be very long, but will be only into 2 or 3 parts. This is the top 10 worst Fairly Odd Parents episodes. Previously, almost 2 years ago, there was a top 25 worst SpongeBob episodes, but today there's finally a countdown on another Nickelodeon show for once. It's time for the Fairly Odd Parents to have a countdown of its own due to how many bad episodes there were. Nobody has done a countdown on this yet, but they had to do one on SpongeBob. Without further ado, let's begin, shall we? Time for number 10, Cosmo Rules. What he does, wow. Jorgen thinks he's so quote-unquote awesome, so awesome, with rules that can have fizzy juice. He is unable to enforce the rules with the Trick-Ups and needs a replacement. He ends up at Timmy Turner's house. None of his family can enforce the rules, and Cosmo must do it because he is some long-lost cousin. With that, Timmy and Cosmo are left home alone because Poof and Wanda must take Jorgen home. With that, Timmy wishes for a zillion bucks for Trixie to love him and to win a ball game, which everyone wants. Of course, Cosmo says he can't because it's against the rules. However, Timmy convinces that there's no such rule that Timmy can't wish for what he wants, so Cosmo grants the wishes. Pretty much, Timmy just abuses Cosmo for his illegal wishes due to how dumb he is or even how vulnerable he is. Yep, Cosmo's so vulnerable in these episodes. He even wishes that all the kids got what they wanted and that the rule book even breaks. Then disaster strikes out of nowhere. Meanwhile, the Trick-Ups are being cured. Apparently, Timmy uses Cosmo's green crayon to change the rules. Cosmo must fix the book with strings, and he succeeds at doing so. Timmy is put into bomb bingo as a punishment. Oh, come on! Timmy could have been given a more severe punishment than that after what he had done. He almost destroyed the world, so he could have gotten raped or lose his fairies for a very long time. Not a bad idea, but a punishment is needed for this situation. Timmy does not deserve to have fairies anymore. Yep, he just completely abused Cosmo without even thinking. Number 9 is Planet of Doom. Anti-Poof or Foop is in jail for whatever reason and attempts to convince Jorgen that he's rehabilitated enough to be near Poof when being served beets. Of course, Jorgen sees Anti-Poof as untrustable, very untrustable, extremely untrustable. Everyone in the world knows that Foop cannot be trusted, just like Patrick Star from SpongeBob SquarePants. Wait, Foop is way more trustable than Patrick Star. However, Foop cannot records Jorgen's voice to lie to Wanda that he's ready for a playdate with Poof and that he's rehabilitated. Meanwhile, back at Timmy's house, everyone must eat beets, and Poof has many gold stars from his quote-unquote good behavior. Good behavior? BS. Since when did Poof have good behavior? He has bad behavior. Cosmo, who is just straight up plain annoying, hates beets. Foop escapes with the tunneling tool. Timmy asks to be a ninja, but instead is a cleaning lady who must attack an aggressive, ruthless hornet's nest. Right after that, Foop arrives dressed elegantly and as polite as ever. Despite the fact that he has class, Poof won't hug Foop. Consequently, he loses a golden star, which is no worse than what he deserves, because he sucks. Meanwhile, Timmy is being attacked by hornets, which he deserves for just abusing his fairies all those other episodes. He deserves to suffer agony from what he's done in the past. Foop makes Poof lose all his golden stars by making it seem that Poof hurted him. Foop tries to get Poof sent to timeout to trap him to get sent to another dimension. Timmy attacks Foop and gets him sent to the other dimension, where there are beats. The episode reused beats joke way too many times. Even Secret Mountain 4 Awesome did a better job at using this joke. In the episode President the Fart when dinner was beats. Poof should have been sent to another dimension, not Foop. Why must it always be him that's punished? At least Foop and Timmy were getting punished, but not enough. No, surely not enough. Number 8 is almost a tie with number 7, but it's The Old Man to See minus, like The Old Man to See by Ernest Hemingway. Timmy's dad plays Are You Brighter Than a 6th Grader? The questions are, who was the first president of the U.S.? Sea cucumber! Who's the first man on the moon? Sea cucumber! What cucumber lives in the sea? Neil Armstrong. All of the answers were clearly wrong, which indicates that Timmy's dad's brainless or brain dead, just like Patrick Star from SpongeBob. Yeah, he got a life supply of macaroni. Like how? Apparently, Timmy's dad dropped out of school in the 5th grade because he was told that he was just too cool for school. His mom wants him to be back in school to finish it. He ends up in Timmy's class because that's where he left off. He defends himself from Mr. Crocker's F-blaster and gives him macaroni. He tells the class that green eggs go well with ham, that grandfather clocks are not made from real grandfathers. Well, duh, brainless fools. Sticks and stones break bones. He even boasts to Timmy's friends that he can watch as much TV as he wants and he doesn't have a bedtime for being an adult. It's cool to be a grown-up. He wants ice cream with macaroni and leaves Timmy behind, which shows that he doesn't even care about his own son. The janitor tells him that he's too cool for school. Consequently, Mr. Turner doesn't even show up to school ever again. Instead, he throws paper towels and hangs out like a cool kid. To pass 5th grade without going to school, he must take the super big test. And only does it to make Timmy proud, because Timmy's not proud of his poor behavior. Nobody's ever survived that. Utter BS. Nothing but utter BS. That's a flat out lie. A big fat lie. What does one mean that no one's ever survived that? He trains and answers all the questions to prepare for it. The only reason why he's able to take it's because he gives Mr. Crocker his lifetime supply of macaroni, and Mr. Crocker misses him as a student. Which is a surprise because Timmy's father is just a bad student right there. When it's time for the super big test, the questions are, what was the last state? Hawaii, Radical 49, 7, and 6 more. Just from those few questions, Timmy's dad passed the 5th grade and even all of middle school. If he gets the last question right, he will win his high school diploma and even a lifetime supply of macaroni. What undersea vegetable lives and goes with an undersea salad? What? There is no such thing as an undersea vegetable that lives and goes in an undersea salad. What? There is no such thing as an undersea salad. There is no vegetable that lives under the sea. A cucumber is an animal, not a plant. So yeah, Timmy's dad has to think for 10 seconds and he gets it right. The end of the episode is a fight with Melvin, the janitor. Okay, time out. No. Just no. How on earth did Timmy's dad just graduate just from those few lame common sense questions? It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Nobody graduates from that. Nobody. If Timmy's dad dropped out that early, then how on earth does he have a white-collar job? That right there just doesn't make sense. If Timmy's dad was really that uneducated, he'd be working at a fast food or low-paying job, such as McDonald's. Timmy's dad is not a good student at all. No, he's certainly not. In fact, he's the worst. One of the worst in history. This quote-unquote super big test is not even a super big test. A few questions doesn't cut it. If this was really a super big test, there'd be at least 300 questions, even 1,000 questions on everything out there. It would take like 6 hours to do. Even better, 2,000 or even 3,000 questions in 17 hours. Overall, Timmy's dad knows little or nothing about anything in life. He's not smarter than a 5th grader. Nope, not at all. He's not even a shadow of one. Some test this is. What idiocy this is. Number 7 is Crocker of Gold. So let's see here. Mr. Crocker needs another crazy obsession from the Wheel of Fortune to get his mind off fairies. Mr. Crocker ends up having to choose leprechauns, which do not exist in real life. Says whom? Says everyone. Meanwhile, and obviously, he can't afford to go to Ireland on a teacher's salary, so he goes to Little Ireland of Dimsdale. Meanwhile, the main characters, Timmy, Cosmo, Wanda, and Poof, are at the Lucky Potato, where Cosmo says BS about some great potato that exists out there, and a made-up holiday called Leprechanica. And, yeah, Little Ireland's nothing but a green place that has potatoes. That's pretty much it. Meanwhile, Mr. Crocker arrives with his mother's Irish stew, which attracts Cosmo. Mr. Crocker forces him to hand over the gold and releases him. Yep, he was thought to be a real leprechaun. Meanwhile, the real leprechauns are mean and mad about their loss of gold. With that, Wanda and Poof are sent to Ireland, and Timmy and Cosmo are sent to find Mr. Crocker. From having gold, Mr. Crocker bought himself a talking car, a toilet with jewels, and a Wheel of Fortune, and a few other things. They attempt to mine for gold but fail. Is there really a gold mine that close to them? The talking car refuses to obey Mr. Crocker's orders, and everyone goes to quote-unquote Ireland. In quote-unquote Ireland, Wanda loves it there because there's all the Lucky Bits cereal, Lucky Charms, and all the deodorant soap that grows on trees. What on earth is this? This isn't Ireland. This is some fancy Lollaloopsy land. That has nothing to do with this country. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Everyone is about to be cooked into stew, but by the time it's time, the lame Great Potato saves them. At the end, Mr. Crocker goes back to hunting fairies. Gosh, this is so insulted to Ireland. Look, it's not just about potatoes or St. Patrick's Day or greenness. Cosmo obsessions were so annoying. That Little Ireland was just a bland place. There was no thought into it. All it was a place that was green and had potatoes. That's not what Ireland's about. Potatoes weren't even from Ireland. Potatoes are from Peru originally, if one knows their history pretty well. No effort or thought put into this whatsoever at all. Steel-cut oats, Irish breakfast tea, whiskey, Irish cream, beer, dancing, taverns, those could have all been mentioned, but were not. Rugby could have also been mentioned. There was no research done on this country at all that was put into this episode. That car was torturing Mr. Crocker was not cool at all. It should have been scrapped. What a slap in the face this was to Ireland. Number 6 is the love triangle. The 30-minute special. Cosmo wants Poof to be in a school play, and it's just obnoxious pretty much the whole episode. Timmy was a table, and Poof is a cookie, and Mr. Turner was dressed up like a pencil. Meanwhile, back in class, Foop throws something and blames it on Sally. Poof and Foop dislike the play. They start a friendship, but it quickly ends with a new student named Goldie arrives. They fall in love but become enemies and want her. They must audition to play the role of the cookie in a play. However, the teacher forbids weapons. Foop uses darkness to be impressive, but does not please anyone. Once Poof's turn, all he does is say, "Boop boo!" Everyone just cheers for him. So he gets to be the cookie. That will make one want to slap their TV after seeing that. Foop deserves the role more than Poof. Poof can't do anything right. He can't do anything at all. Foop's darkness was cool. Consequently, Foop is outraged to the point where he changes the script into Mr. Cookie Crumbles. That was intended to make Poof suffer because he deserves it. Mr. Turner comes to the play thinking that he belongs there, which was okay. When Poof finds what has been done to the script, he faces illness. Wimp! Poof's nothing but a wimp. Really. And everyone falls for it because they're that dim-witted. Foop had sent Mrs. Powers, the teacher, to a different world because Foop is Poof's backup. He must star as the poor cookie. The cookie that was supposed to be Poof must be continuously attacked in a world of darkness during the whole play. He must go through an adventuresome, dangerous quest to save Goldie, but doesn't really save her. Meanwhile, Poof has been sent to a different world, but makes it back just in time after attacking a monster. When the time comes for the kiss, Foop can't because he is taken away by the ever so annoying teacher, which is so unfair. That's not fair! Foop deserved to kiss her, not Poof! Poof is thanked and kissed, which is something that was bad enough to boo at. Boo! Hiss! Foop was called Floop at least 3 times by Goldie. Goldie was so unattractive, not to mention uninteresting. She just had a southern accent, that was it. Poof did nothing to deserve that kiss. End of story. Finally, we're halfway. Number 5 is Spellementary School. Poof goes to school for the very first time, which is a school for useless magical creatures that suck. Foop is determined to be better than Poof. The teacher, Mrs. Powers, was annoying, extremely annoying. Her voice was annoying. Her look was unappealing. Everything about her. Oh, I'm Mrs. Powers! Oh, today class we're going to do 2 + 2! That's what she pretty much sounded like. Apparently, Poof becomes popular in the classroom, but Foop attempts to be cool during lunch. Poof may be the most popular kid in class, but not during lunch. When he tells everyone a knock-knock joke, everyone booed at him. And when Poof did the exact same thing, everyone cheered for him. Same thing happened in the gym. When it's time to vote for the class president, Foop has to go against Poof. Also, Poof disarmed Foop's weapons, which wasn't cool. As predictable, it was Poof who won just from saying "Poof-Poof!" The winner is Foop, spelled backwards. Foop wants vengeance on Poof as well as everyone else. He is just about to destroy everything, but out of nowhere the bell rings for school to end the school day. From that, everything goes back to normal. Boo! Hiss! Lame! What a cop-out. Everyone could have been killed, but no. It had to end over some lame bow. Some lame excuse to end violence. So uncalled for. If the school had been destroyed, it would have been a good ending. All the students were useless and deserved to die. How on earth is Poof so popular? He's not cool even the slightest. It isn't fair. It's like in SpongeBob. Patrick and SpongeBob can do bad things, but whatever Squidward does, everyone bullies him endlessly. It's like this. If Poof attempts to show off, he's cool, but when Foop attempts to show off, everyone's just mean to him. This is so uncool right here. And it's very relatable right there. Number 4 is Taken Fig. It's the day of Trixie's party, and Timmy's waiting for the mailman for an invitation to Trixie's costume party. Nope, Timmy was not invited, just as predicted. However, everyone in town, even his dumb parents, were invited. Oh, come on! That's just plain ridiculous. There's one here. This is absolutely ridiculous, not to mention mean-spirited. Seriously. What kind of party is this? To get Timmy... And Timmy must disguise himself as someone else who is lovable. To do that, he must use a very special device. To get the device, Timmy tells Mark to dress up as something. After that, Timmy steals the device that can shuffle and uses and to be the ever most handsome Rex Perfection to sneak into Trixie's party. When Timmy's parents dress up as their opposite selves, they tell Trixie that she's attractive and one of those bratty, stuck-up, snotty rich girls. All the above is true, and just for saying that, they're kicked out of the party. Uncool. They are happy that Timmy is not there. Mr. Crocker is just dressed up like a fairy and is impressed with Timmy's fairies. However, he doesn't notice that it's really them. That's strange. What's worse is that they harassed him at least several times throughout the episode. Gosh, Trixie is so rude and can't seem to find the perfect costume. But as soon as she sees Rex Perfection, aka Timmy Turner, arrive, she immediately falls in love with him. However, the device turns Timmy into a hideous creature. That happens when they dance. Meanwhile, Timmy's parents try to steal the shrimp but fail each and every time. Oh yeah, Dingleberg dressed up as a fountain. Mark was being cool but saw Timmy as him. The device did this because it was on shuffle. When Timmy is seen as being Rex Perfection, the real fairies win first prize, which is a shrimp. Without even bothering to think just a little bit, Cosmo eats all the shrimp. Tootie disguises herself as Trixie and is sent away, screaming that she'll always love him. Trixie kicks out Timmy of the party and he says the exact same thing, screaming that he'll always love her. Wow. This show shows how uncool and bratty Trixie is. Such intolerant behavior this is. Unacceptable. How can Mr. Crocker not notice the real fairies? It's utterly sickening to see what the fairies did to poor old Crocker. That's not fair because Mr. Crocker doesn't have magical powers like they do. Gosh, this shows how Trixie doesn't deserve to live such a lavish lifestyle that most people don't get to live. Why was there a silly obsession over shrimp? The worst part of the whole episode is that Cosmo ate all the shrimp and didn't even deserve it. How were the fairies not seen as real? People are so dumb in this show. The only good character had to be Mr. Crocker. Screw Trixie for her bad behavior and Cosmo for what he did. She purposely did that to leave Timmy out, which she was well aware of what she was doing. However, there are 3 more bad episodes to go. Number 3 was very close to number 2, and it is The Balance of Flower. The intro music was very fun to listen to, but the episode was just as bad as the worst SpongeBob episodes out there. So this atrocious episode starts off with Cosmo eating walls from a bakery. Jorgen's Nana Boom Boom throws explosive pie at Timmy to prevent him from eating the quote-unquote award-winning brownies. At the very same time, Poof eats all of them, being stopped just in time by Wanda. Anti-Cosmo attempts to steal the very last brownie by being disguised as a frosted scone. Jorgen accidentally reveals that the recipe is stored in the basement, which was why a pie was thrown at him. Poof, meanwhile, ate the very last brownie and really burps. Not cool, Poof. Not cool. Can one hear? Wanda must take Poof to a brownie-free zone. Warning. The boys, Timmy and Cosmo, not to be stupid. Timmy wants a secret recipe and they search for it. To get past being annihilated, Cosmo has to turn Timmy into Nana Boom Boom. Anti-Cosmo sees that Timmy knows the recipe. Back at home, Poof screams like a spoiled brat or spoiled child, banging his plate real hard. Brownie, 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 brownie! Poof, I don't have any more brownies! And he throws a teething biscuit because he is that rude and says that he wants more brownies. Unacceptable behavior right there. He wasn't even supposed to have it in the first place. Timmy says that the bake-off is stupid, which is agreeable. He also says it's not the end of the world, which is also agreeable. Very agreeable. However, according to Wanda, it is quote-unquote the end of the world because it was a quote-unquote logical way to end war. For who had the God Kid? Says whom? Says nobody. That's utter BS. How can this be the end of the world? It's not. Okay? The anti-fairies want to suck the recipe from Timmy's little brain. To protect the recipe from dangerous exposure, Timmy must be kept in a safe house until the bake-off ends. The anti-fairies manage to capture Timmy, who's just now Cosmo. Hey, wait just a second. Since when on earth did they switch bodies? Back where real Timmy is, the brownies are being baked, and Poof ate them all for the second time. Does he ever get fed? At the same time, the 90,000th bake-off is taking place. Bull! It couldn't have been that many times. It would have been like a year 3000 at least. What a lie. Mother Nature, who is nothing but a fat, ugly, repulsive woman with the huge breasts, arrives. The uncool fairies are about to be disqualified, which is really what they deserve, but they arrive just in time. Boo! Hiss! Boo! Hiss! Boo-hoo! Screw them. When that so-called Mother Nature opens the first entry, there's nothing. That was Cosmo's recipe that had 0 cups of flour. That's not a recipe! Cosmo must have had a brick in his head when he thought about that. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. What? Be quiet, fat lady. Just shut up. Shut up. You suck. Who are you calling Mother Nature? You're not Mother Nature. You're just a big fat lady, so shut up. So that was a recipe for bread-free toast, which makes no sense. Why, there's no such thing. When the brownies are seen by Poof, he eats them all except for one, and the fairies win again. Why didn't the brat get punished? Poof ate 3 batches of brownies, that fat poopy pig. The anti-fairies should have won once and for all. Well, there are only 2 more episodes left, and part 2 should come out in part 2 should come out in 1 or 2 weeks from now. Sorry for not having those 2 episodes done, but at least most of the countdown's finished. There were more bad episodes out there like Fairly Odd Pet, Fairly Odd Baby, and a few more bad episodes, but it would take too long to even think about what to say about them, so that's why they didn't make the list, even though they would be considered honorable mentions. And there are many more episodes out there that probably could make it just as well. So, there will be more rants coming up in about a few weeks from now in February. With that, that's all there is to say for this video. Sorry that this video came out so late, but at least it's done almost. Good night.